Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaudavani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtachideshatarine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaudavani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtachideshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Jai Prabhupada Gora Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitai Gauda Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. Welcome to everyone. Forgive my voice, a little sick. For it. And I already welcomed everybody here, but I'll just do it since we started. We have Bhaktasi and Nakunja Nagari Devi Dasi on Zoom, and me. Hare Krishna. So we're picking up where we left off in Canto 1, Chapter 16, text 23, 116:23. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat. Shinvatam Swakita Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantasto Yabhadrani Vidunoti Suhrit Satam Nashtaprayashva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Utama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Excuse me. Water. Okay. 116:23. How Parikshit received the age of Kali. Yadvambate Bhuri Bharavatara Katavatara Harer Daritri Antarhitasya Smarati Vashishta Karmani Nirbana Vilambitani. O Mother Earth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, incarnated himself as Lord Sri Krishna just to unload your heavy burden. All his activities are transcendental, and they cement the path of liberation. You are now bereft of his presence. You are probably now thinking of those activities and feeling sorry in their absence. Purport. The activities of the Lord include liberation, but they are more relishable than the pleasure derived from nirvana, or liberation. According to Srila Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the word used here is nirvana vilambitani, that which minimizes the value of liberation. To attain nirvana, liberation, one has to undergo a severe type of tapasya, austerity. But the Lord is so merciful that he incarnates to diminish the burden of the earth. Simply by remembering such activities, one can defy the pleasure derived from nirvana and reach the transcendental abode of the Lord to associate with him, eternally engaged in his blissful, loving service. Idamamachakshvatavadimulam visundarayena vikirshatasi kalina vate balanambaliyasa surarchitam kim hritam ambashabhagam. Mother, you are the reservoir of all riches. Please inform me of the root cause of your tribulations by which you have been reduced to such a weak state. I think that the powerful influence of time, which conquers the most powerful, might have forcibly taken away all your fortune, which was adored even by the demigods. Report. By the grace of the Lord, each and every planet is created fully equipped. So not only is this earth fully equipped with all the riches for the maintenance of its inhabitants, But also, when the Lord descends on the earth, the whole earth becomes so enriched with all kinds of opulences that even the denizens of heaven worship it with all affection. But by the will of the Lord, the whole earth can at once be changed. He can do and undo a thing by his sweet will. Therefore, no one should consider himself to be self-sufficient or independent of the Lord. Taranyuvacha bhavani veda tat sarvam yanmam dharmanuprichyasi chaturbhir vartase yena padar loka sukhavahai. The earthly deity in the form of a cow thus replied to the personality of religious principles in the form of a bull, O Dharma, whatever you have inquired from me shall be known to you. I shall try to reply to all those questions. Once you too were maintained by your 4 legs, and you increased happiness all over the universe by the mercy of the Lord. Purport. The principles of religion are laid down by the Lord himself, and the executor of such laws is Dharmaraj or Yamaraj. Such principles work fully in the age of such a yuga. In the Treta Yuga, they are reduced by a fraction of 1/4. In the Dwapara Yuga, they are reduced to 1/2, and in the Kali Yuga, they are reduced to 1/4, gradually diminishing to the 0 point, and then devastation takes place. Happiness in the world depends proportionately on the maintenance of the religious principles, individually or collectively. The best part of valor is to maintain the principles despite all kinds of odds. Thus, one can be happy during the span of life and ultimately return to Godhead. Satyam sautyam dayakshantis tyaga santosha arjavam samadamastapa samyam titiksho parati shrutam jnanam vilaktir aishvaryam sharyam tejo balam smriti swatantriyam kaushalam kantir dhairyam mardavam evacha pragalbhyam prashraya shilam saha ojo balam bhagaha Gabiryam staryam astikyam kirtir manonaham kritihi iti janye cha bhagavan nityayatra mahagunaha partyamahatvam itchadbir naviyanti smakarhachit tinaham gunapatrena srinivasena sampratam suchami rahitam lokam papmana kalinikshitam. In him reside truthfulness, cleanliness, intolerance of another's unhappiness, the power to control anger, self-satisfaction, straightforwardness, steadiness of mind, control of the sense organs, responsibility, equality, tolerance, equanimity, faithfulness, knowledge, absence of sense enjoyment, leadership, chivalry, influence, the power to make everything possible, the discharge of proper duty, complete independence, dexterity, fullness of all beauty, serenity, kind-heartedness, ingenuity, gentility, magnanimity, determination, perfection in all knowledge, proper execution, possession of all objects of enjoyment, joyfulness, immovability, fidelity, fame, worship, pridelessness, being as the personality of Godhead, eternity, and many other transcendental qualities which are eternally present and never to be separated from him. That personality of Godhead, the reservoir of all goodness and beauty, Lord Sri Krishna, has now closed his transcendental pastimes on the face of the earth. In his absence, the age of Kali has spread its influence everywhere, so I am sorry to see this condition of existence. Purport. Even if it were possible to count the atoms after smashing the earth into powder, still, it would not be possible to estimate the unfathomable transcendental qualities of the Lord. It is said that Lord Anantadev has tried to expound the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Lord with his numberless tongues, and that for numberless years together it has been impossible to estimate the qualities of the Lord. The above statement of the qualities of the Lord is just to estimate his qualities as far as a human being is able to see him. But even if it is so, the above qualities can be divided into many subheadings. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the third quality, intolerance of another's unhappiness, can be subdivided into protection of the surrendered souls and well wishes for the devotees. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord states that he wants every soul to surrender unto him only, and he assures everyone that if one does so, he will give protection from the reactions of all sins. Unsurrendered souls are not devotees of the Lord, and thus there is no particular protection for everyone in general. For the devotees, he has all good wishes, and for those who are actually engaged in loving transcendental service of the Lord, he gives particular attention. He gives direction to such pure devotees to help them discharge their responsibilities on the path back to Godhead. By equality, the Lord is equally kind to everyone, as the sun is equal in distributing its rays over everyone. Yet there are many who are unable to take advantage of the sun's rays. Similarly, the Lord says that surrendering unto him is the guarantee for all protection from him. But unfortunate persons are unable to accept this proposition, and therefore they suffer from all material miseries. So even though the Lord is equally well-wishing to everyone, the unfortunate living being, due to bad association only, is unable to accept his instructions in toto. And for this, the Lord is never to be blamed. He is called the well-wisher for the devotees only. He appears to be partial to his devotees, but factually, the matter rests on the living being to accept or reject equal treatment by the Lord. The Lord never deviates from his word of honor. When he gives assurance for protection, the promise is executed in all circumstances. It is the duty of the pure devotee to be fixed in the discharge of the duty entrusted to him by the Lord or the Lord's bona fide representative, the spiritual master. The rest is carried on by the Lord without a break. The responsibility of the Lord is also unique. The Lord has no responsibility because all his work is done by his different appointed energies. But still, he accepts voluntary responsibilities in displaying different roles in his transcendental pastimes. As a boy, he was playing the part of a cowboy. As the son of Nanda Maharaj, he discharged responsibility perfectly. Similarly, when he was playing the part of a kshatriya as the son of Maharaj Vasudeva, he displayed all the skill of a martially spirited kshatriya. In almost all cases, the kshatriya king has to secure a wife by fighting or kidnapping. This sort of behavior for a kshatriya is praiseworthy in the sense that a kshatriya must show his power of chivalry to his would-be wife so that the daughter of a kshatriya can see the valor of her would-be husband. Even the personality of Godhead, Sri Ram, displayed such a spirit of chivalry during his marriage. He broke the strongest bow, called Haradhanur, and achieved the hand of Sita Devi, the mother of all opulence. The Kshatriya spirit is displayed during marriage festivals, and there is nothing wrong in such fighting. Lord Sri Krishna discharged such responsibility fully because although he had more than 16,000 wives, in each and every case he fought like a chivalrous Kshatriya and thus secured a wife. To fight 16,000 times to secure 16,000 wives is certainly possible only for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, he displayed full responsibility in every action of his different transcendental pastimes. The 14th quality, knowledge, can be further extended into 5 subheadings, namely intelligence, gratefulness, power of understanding the circumstantial environments of place, object, and time, perfect knowledge of everything, and knowledge of the self. Only fools are ungrateful to their benefactors. The Lord, however, does not require benefit from anyone besides himself because he is full in himself. Still, he feels benefited by the unalloyed services of his devotees. The Lord feels grateful to his devotees for such unsophisticated, unconditional service, and tries to reciprocate it by rendering service, although the devotee also has no such desire in his heart. The transcendental service of the Lord is itself a transcendental benefit for the devotee, and therefore the devotee has nothing to expect from the Lord. On the assertion of the Vedic aphorism Sarvam Kalavidam Brahma, we can understand that the Lord, by the omnipresent rays of his effulgence, called Brahmajyoti, is all-pervading inside or outside of everything, like the omnipresent material sky, and thus he is also omniscient. As far as the beauty of the Lord is concerned, he has some special features that distinguish him from all other living beings. And over and above that, he has some special attractive, beautiful features by which he attracts the mind of even Radharani, the supermost beautiful creation of the Lord. He is known, therefore, as Madan Mohan, or one who attracts the mind of even Cupid. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu has scrutinizingly analyzed other transcendental qualities of the Lord and affirms that Lord Sri Krishna is the absolute supreme personality of Godhead, Parabrahman. He is omnipotent by his inconceivable energies, and therefore he is the Yogeshwara, or the supreme master of all mystic powers. Being the Yogeshwara, his eternal form is spiritual, a combination of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. The non-devotee class cannot understand the dynamic nature of his knowledge because they are satisfied to reach up to his eternal form of knowledge. All great souls aspire to be equal in knowledge with him. This means that all other knowledge is ever insufficient, flexible, and measurable, whereas the knowledge of the Lord is ever fixed and unfathomable. Srila Sutta Goswami affirms in the Bhagavatam that although he was observed by the citizens of Dwarka every day, they were ever increasingly anxious to see him again and again. The living beings can appreciate the qualities of the Lord as the ultimate goal, but they cannot attain the status quo of such equality. This material world is a product of the Mahat Tattva, which is a state of the Lord's dreaming condition in his Yoga Nidra mystic slumber in the causal ocean. And yet the whole creation appears to be a factual presentation of his creation. This means that the Lord's dreaming conditions are also factual manifestations. He can therefore bring everything under his transcendental control, and thus whenever and wherever he does appear, he does so in his fullness. The Lord, being all that is described above, maintains the affairs of the creation, and by his so doing he gives salvation even to his enemies who are killed by him. He is attractive even to the topmost liberated soul, and thus he is worshipable even by Brahma and Shiva, the greatest of all demigods. Even in his incarnation of Purusha avatar, he is the Lord of the creative energy. The creative energy is working under his direction as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 9.10. He is the control switch of the material energy, and to control the material energy in the innumerable universes, he is the root cause of innumerable incarnations in all the universes. There are more than 500,000 incarnations of Manu in only one universe, besides other incarnations in different universes. In the spiritual world, however, beyond the Mahat Tattva, there is no question of incarnations, but there are plenary expansions of the Lord in different Vaikunthas. The planets in the spiritual sky are at least 3 times the number of those within the innumerable universes in the Mahat Tattva, and all the Narayan forms of the Lord are but expansions of his Vasudeva feature. And thus he is Vasudeva, Narayan, and Krishna simultaneously. He is Sri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nata Narayana Vasudeva, all in one. His qualities, therefore, cannot be counted by anyone, however great one may be. Any reflections at this point? Or comments, questions? That was a
Hare
hefty
Krishna.
purport.
Oh, Pranatakaruna Prabhu, I have something that I just thought was really nice. Um, in the text 25 in the purport, it said, happiness in the world depends proportionately on the maintenance of religious principles, individually or collectively. The best part of valor is to maintain the principle despite all kinds of odds. Thus, one can be happy during the span of life and ultimately return to Godhead. I was really looking at those two sentences, and there's so many strong words in those sentences, but happiness in the world depends proportionately on the maintenance of religious principles. So, is that basically saying how, our religious principles, like our regulative principles? Is that what it's saying? And So how, like how proportionate, like how our sadhana is, our strength, that's how we'll receive back, but not always, right?
What was the last thing you said?
Okay.
Receiving back? I didn't catch the last part.
Okay, so well, just like I have to read it again. Happiness in the world depends proportionately on the maintenance of religious principles, individually or collectively. So, just saying it depends proportionately on the maintenance of religious principles. So, that's us, is that us as devotees? And however, our sadhana and our devotion, and it comes back to us. Well, happiness in the world depends proportionally on the maintenance of religious principles, individually or collectively. So, if we just give a little, we just get a little back. If we give a lot, if we, in service and things, then we get a lot back.
So, as we're hearing in this section, um, we just heard that, actually, it might have been the same purport. With the, let me just look really quick. Um, yeah, the principles of religion are laid down by the Lord Himself, and the executor of such laws is Dharmaraj or Yamaraj. Such principles work fully in the age of such a yuga. In the Treta Yuga, they are reduced by a fraction of 1/4. In the Dwapara Yuga, they are reduced to 1/2, and so on.
Hmm.
So, actually, we just read in the last few days that actually the regulative principles are directly connected with the causes of quarrel,
Yep, I heard that.
and so that is there. The thing is though, it's much bigger than us because basically we're in Kali Yuga, which is going to be kind of a unhappy, quarrelsome, crazy situation on Earth, and we may be here for whatever reason and have our certain karma of enjoyment and suffering already. And we can mitigate sufferings by taking to devotional service. But actually, devotional service, even if we are like cent percent engaged in sadhana and devotional service 100%, it doesn't mean that we're not going to necessarily suffer, but it's more so like uh, like transcendentalizing whatever our karmic situation is.
Hmm. Okay.
So, and it's basically yes and no because um, devotees are transcendental. So, just like the Pandavas, they were pure devotees, but they constantly had to deal with so many injustices and suffering and going in exile and so many things. And then in the end, they had to kill all their family. And it was actually a lot of suffering, but uh, at the same time, they're transcendental to it because they're pure devotees. So, um, I don't know if that exactly answered your
Hmm.
question, but um, basically, it's
It
kind of
does.
there's a letter Prabhupada has called the Utopian Letter, and he's basically instructing about like this idea that our center should be like utopia, which is basically it's like a utopian kind of thought to think that well all the suffering is going to go away if we just be Krishna conscious. And that's not necessarily how it
Mm.
is, especially in Kali Yuga. In Satya Yuga, it may be a situation more like that. But at the same time, whatever sufferings are there, we actually don't have to be touched by it because we can transcend. So, does that make
Right.
sense?
Hmm. And just the last part, the best part of valor is to maintain the principle despite all kinds of odds. I just thought that was nice valor. And I actually had to look up valor. Like honor, valor, but courage and bravery. So it's that, he's saying that it takes bravery in order to the to maintain this. It's not an easy thing. But if you do, despite the odds, you can be happy during the span of life. It's just really nice. It's such a rich, richly worded set of sentences that you have to really, it's good. Thank you. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
That's a good point to bring up too, because devotees can be happy despite um, reverses, which are definitely going to be there, especially in Kali Yuga.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Haribol, welcoming Aruna Lochana Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. Haribol. We are just reading in Canto 1, Chapter 16, Text 31. Hare Krishna. Okay, so I'll continue here. Atmanam chanu shachami bhavantam chara chamarotamam Divan putrendra shin sadun savan varnam sutashraman. I am thinking about myself, and also, O best amongst the demigods, about you, as well as about the demigods, sages, denizens of Pitraloka, devotees of the Lord, and all men obedient to the system of Varna and Ashram in human society. Purport. To effect the perfection of human life, there is cooperation between men and demigods, sages, denizens of the Pitraloka, devotees of the Lord, and the scientific system of Varna and Ashram orders of life. The distinction between human life and animal life, therefore, begins with the scientific system of Varna and Ashram, headed by the experience of the sages in relation with the demigods, gradually rising to the summit of re-establishing our eternal relation with the Supreme Absolute Truth, the Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. When God made Varnashram Dharma, which is strictly meant for developing animal consciousness into human consciousness, and human consciousness into godly consciousness, is broken by advancement of foolishness, the whole system of peaceful and progressive life is at once disturbed. In the age of Kali, the first attack of the venomous snake strikes against the God-made Varnashram Dharma, and thus a person properly qualified as a Brahmana is called a Shudra, and a Shudra by qualification is passing as a Brahmana. All on a false birth, although it may be a fulfillment of one of the conditions. But the real qualification of a Brahmana is to control the mind and the senses, and to cultivate tolerance, simplicity, cleanliness, knowledge, truthfulness, devotion. Age, consideration of the necessary qualification is being neglected, and the false birthright claim is being supported even by a popular, sophisticated poet, the author of Ramacharita Manasa. This is all due to the influence of the age of Kali. Thus, Mother Earth, represented as a cow, Brahmadaya Bahutatam Yarapanga Moksha Kamastapasamacharan Bhagavat Prapanaha Sa Shri Swavasamaravindavanam Vihaya Yat Paraso Bhagamalam Bhajate Nirakarocha Upalabhya Tato Vibhutim Lokan Samam Vyashriyad Utsumayatim Tarante. Excuse me. Lakshmi Ji, the goddess of fortune, whose glance of grace was and engaged herself in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. I was endowed with specific powers to supersede the fortune of all three planetary systems by being decorated with the impressions of the flag, thunderbolt, elephant driving rod, and lotus flower. I was so fortunate, the Lord left me. And opulence of the world can be enhanced, and as a result of this specific grace, the whole earth was made as perfect as possible. In other words, the rivers, the seas, the forests, the hills, and the mines, which are the supplying agents for the necessities of men and animals, were fully discharging their respective duties. Therefore, the riches of the world surpassed all the riches of all other planets in the three planetary systems of the universe. One should therefore ask that the grace of the Lord always be present on earth so that we may be favored with his causeless mercy and be happy, having all necessities of life. One may ask how we can detain the Supreme Lord on this earth after his mission is fulfilled and he has left this earth for his own abode. The answer is that there is no need to detain the Lord. The Lord, being omnipresent, can be present with us if we want him at all. By his omnipresence, he can always be with us if we are attached to his devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, and so on. There is nothing in the world with which the Lord is disconnected. The only thing we must learn is to excavate the source of connection and thus be linked with him by offenseless service. We can be connected with him by the transcendental sound representation of the Lord. The holy name of the Lord and the Lord himself are identical, and one who chants the holy name of the Lord in an offenseless manner can at once realize that the Lord is present before him. Even by the vibration of radio sound, we can partially realize sound relativity. And by resounding the sound of transcendence, we can verily feel the presence of the Lord. In this age, when everything is polluted by the contamination of Kali, it is instructed in the scriptures and preached by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that by chanting the holy name of the Lord, we can at once be free from contamination and gradually rise to the status of transcendence and go back to Godhead. The offenseless chanter of the holy name of the Lord is as auspicious as the Lord himself, and the movement of pure devotees of the Lord all over the world can at once change the troublesome face of the world. Only by the propagation of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord can we be immune from all effects of the age of Kali. Hare Krishna. Only by the propagation of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord we can be immune from all effects of the age of Kali. The propagation of the chanting of the holy names. Yo vai mamati bharamasharavamsarajyam akshauheni sata apanudaratmatantraha tvam dushramuna padamatmani parushena sampadayan yudushuram yamabhibhradangam. O personality of religion, I was greatly overburdened by the undue military phalanxes arranged by atheistic kings, and I was relieved by the grace of the personality of Godhead. Similarly, you were also in a distressed condition, weakened in your standing strength, and thus he also incarnated by his internal energy in the family of the Yadus to relieve you. Purport. The Asuras want to enjoy a life of sense gratification, even at the cost of others' happiness. In order to fulfill this ambition, the Asuras, especially atheistic kings or state executive heads, try to equip themselves with all kinds of deadly weapons to bring about a war in a peaceful society. They have no ambition other than personal aggrandizement, and thus Mother Earth feels overburdened by such undue increases of military strength. By increase of the Ashuric population, those who follow the principles of religion become unhappy, especially the devotees or devas. In such a situation, the personality of Godhead incarnates to vanquish the unwanted Asuras and to reestablish the true principles of religion. This was the mission of Lord Sri Krishna, and he fulfilled it. Kavasahita viraham purushotamasya prema valoka ruchira smita valagu jalpai staryam samana maharan marumani ninam romotsava mamayad angri vatankataya. Who, therefore, can tolerate the pangs of separation from that Supreme Personality of Godhead? He could conquer the gravity and passionate wrath of his sweethearts like Satyabhama by his sweet smile of love, pleasing glance, and hearty appeals. When he traversed my, Earth's, surface, I would be immersed in the dust of his lotus feet, and thus would be sumptuously covered with grass, which appeared like hairs standing on me out of pleasure. Purport. There were chances of separation between the Lord and his thousands of queens because of the Lord's being absent from home. But as far as his connection with earth was concerned, the Lord would traverse the earth with his lotus feet, and therefore there was no chance of separation. When the Lord left the surface of the earth to return to his spiritual abode, the earth's feelings of separation were therefore more acute. Tyorevam katayato prithivi dharma yostada parikshin nama rajarshi aprapta prachim sarasvatim. While the earth and the personality of religion were thus engaged in conversation, the saintly king Parikshit reached the shore of the Saraswati river, which flowed towards the east. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 16th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled How Parikshit Received the Age of Kali. Sadhu, sadhu. Yeah. That's a good time to reflect or comment question. I know we just did, but just in case there's more. I'm just opening it up for anybody. We're flying through the first canto. Excuse me. Alright, Krishna. Yeah, me either. So, alright. Well, we can keep hearing a little bit more. Chapter 17. Punishment and Reward of Kali. Text 1. Sutu vacha tatrago mitinam raja hanyamanam anatavat dandahastam ja vishalam dadrashi nirpalanchanam. Suta Goswami said, after reaching that place, Maharaj Parikshit observed that a lower caste Shudra dressed like a king was beating a cow and a bull with a club, as if they had no owner. Report. The principal sign of the age of Kali is that lower caste Shudras, that is, men without Brahminical culture and spiritual initiation, will be dressed like administrators or kings, and the principal business of such non-Kshatriya rulers will be to kill the innocent animals, especially the cows and the bulls, who shall be unprotected by their masters, the bona fide Vaishyas, the mercantile community. In the Bhagavad Gita 18:44, it is said that the Vaishyas are meant to deal in agriculture, cow protection, and trade. In the age of Kali, the degraded Vaishyas, the mercantile men, are engaged in supplying cows to slaughterhouses. The Kshatriyas are meant to protect the citizens of the state, whereas the Vaishyas are meant to protect the cows and the bulls, and utilize them to produce grains and milk. The cow is meant to deliver milk, and the bull is meant to produce grains. But in the age of Kali, the Shudra class of men are in the posts of administrators, and the cows and bulls, or the mothers and the fathers, unprotected by the Vaishyas, are subjected to the slaughterhouses organized by the Shudra administrators. Text 2. Vrishamranala dhavalam mahantam iva bhibhyatam vipamanam bhadaikena siddhantam sujatharitam. The bull was as white as a white lotus flower. He was terrified of the Shudra who was beating him, and he was so afraid that he was standing on one leg, trembling and urinating. Purport. The next symptom of the age of Kali is that principles of religion, which are all spotlessly white, like the white lotus flower, will be attacked by the uncultured Shudra population of the age. They may be descendants of Brahmin or Kshatriya forefathers, but in the age of Kali, for want of sufficient education and culture of Vedic wisdom, such a Shudra-like population will defy the principles of religion, and persons who are religiously endowed will be terrified by such men. They will declare themselves as adherents of no religious principles, and many isms and cults will spring up in Kali Yuga, only to kill the spotless bull of religion. The state will be declared to be secular or without any particular principle of religion, and as a result there will be total indifference to the principles of religion. The citizens will be free to act as they like without respect for sadhu, shastra, and guru. The bull standing on one leg indicates that the principles of religion are gradually diminishing. Even the fragmental existence of religious principles will be embarrassed by so many obstacles, as if in the trembling condition of falling down at any time. Gam chadharma dugam dinam prasham shudra padahatam vivatsamashu. Sorry, I got the wrong meter here. Gam chadharma dugam dinam prasham shudra padahatam vivatsam ashtu vadanam kshamam yavasamishchatim. Although the cow is beneficial because one can draw religious principles from her, she was now rendered poor and calfless. Her legs were being beaten by a Shudra. There were tears in her eyes, and she was distressed and weak. She was hankering after some grass in the field. Purport. The next symptom of the age of Kali is the distressed condition of the cow. Milking the cow means drawing the principles of religion in a liquid form. The great rishis and munis would live only on milk. Srila Shukadeva Goswami would go to a householder while he was milking a cow, and he would simply take a little quantity of it for subsistence. Even 50 years ago, no one would deprive a sadhu of a quart or two of milk, and every householder would give milk like water. For a Sanatanist, a follower of Vedic principles, it is the duty of every householder to have cows and bulls as household paraphernalia, not only for drinking milk, but also for deriving religious principles. The Sanatanists worship cows on religious principles and respect brahmanas. The cow's milk is required for the sacrificial fire, and by performing sacrifices, the householder can be happy. The cow's calf not only is beautiful to look at, but also gives satisfaction to the cow, and so she delivers as much milk as possible. But in the Kali Yuga, the calves are separated from the cows as early as possible for purposes which may not be mentioned in these pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. The cow stands with tears in her eyes. The Shudra milkman then draws milk from the cow artificially, and when there is no milk, the cow is sent to be slaughtered. These greatly sinful acts are responsible for all the troubles in present society. People do not know what they are doing in the name of economic development. The influence of Kali will keep them in the darkness of ignorance. Despite all endeavors for peace and prosperity, they must try to see the cows and the bulls happy in all respects. Foolish people do not know how one earns happiness by making the cows and bulls happy. But it is a fact by the law of nature. Let us take it from the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam and adopt the principles for the total happiness of humanity. Alright, Krishna. Prascharatamaruddha kartaswara parishchadam megagambiraya vacha samaropita karmukaha. Maharaj Parikshit, well equipped with arrows and bow and seated on a gold embossed chariot, spoke to him, the Shudra, with a deep voice sounding like thunder. Purport. An administrative head or king like Maharaj Parikshit with full majestic authority, well equipped with weapons to chastise miscreants, can challenge the agents of the age of Kali. Then only will it be possible to counteract the degraded age. And in the absence of such strong executive heads, there is always disruption of tranquility. The elected show bottle executive head, as representative of a degraded public, cannot be equal with a strong king like Maharaj Parikshit. The dress or style of royal order does not count. It is one's actions which are counted. Tastvamascharane loke valadhang siya balan bali naradevo siveshena natavat karmana dvijaha. Oh, who are you? You appear to be strong, and yet you dare kill within my protection those who are helpless? By your dress, you pose yourself to be a godly man, king, but by your deeds, you are opposing the principles of the twice-born Kshatriyas. Purport. The Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas are called twice-born because for these higher classes of men there is one birth by parental subjugation, and there is another birth of cultural rejuvenation by spiritual initiation from the bona fide acharya or spiritual master. So a Kshatriya is also twice born like a Brahmin, and his duty is to give protection to the helpless. The Kshatriya king is considered to be the representative of God to give protection to the helpless and chastise the miscreants. Whenever there are anomalies in this routine work by the administrators, there is an incarnation of the Lord to reestablish the principles of a godly kingdom. In the age of Kali, the poor helpless animals, especially the cows, which are meant to receive all sorts of protection from the administrative heads, are killed without restriction. Thus the administrative heads under whose noses such things happen are representatives of God in name only. Such powerful administrators are rulers of the poor citizens by dress or office, but factually they are worthless, lower-class men, without the cultural assets of the twice-born. No one can expect justice or equality of treatment from once-born, spiritually uncultured, lower-class men. Therefore, in the age of Kali, everyone is unhappy due to the maladministration of the state. The modern human society is not twice born by spiritual culture. Therefore, the people's government, by the people who are not twice born, must be a government of Kali in which everyone is unhappy. Hare Krishna. Let me just check. Yeah, it's pretty much... I'm going to end the reading portion there. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. So, we'll just open it up for any last thoughts. I always like hearing these sections that sort of compare the modern day situation, modern day governments, administration, and things, where Prabhupada talks about these topics because he has such a unique perspective, and it's really amazing how deep the culture goes that Prabhupada's giving, and it just really puts things in perspective in so many ways, which is always nice to hear. I just like hearing it. And that one statement he said, here, I'll just reread it to make sure I don't butcher it. He said, the Shudra milkman draws milk from the cow artificially, and when there's no milk, the cow is sent to be slaughtered. These greatly sinful acts are responsible for all the troubles in present society. That's pretty amazing. I never would have even thought to make that connection. But, Krishna loves the cows. He gives pleasure to the cows. The cows are especially dear to God. So there's a specific karmic arrangement with cows. Actually, in another place, Prabhupada said cows actually, like cows in this world, are basically made in the likeness of the Kamadhenus of the spiritual world, and they're like basically, very special, directly from the spiritual world, in a sense. And they're just like we heard today. He said cows are meant for giving milk, and bulls are meant for producing grains. They're specifically put on earth by Krishna for men to worship God, actually, and to live in harmony with nature. So it's like such a powerful, significant concept, with cows really as such a integral part of human society and God consciousness. So yeah, to hear Prabhupada's perspective of it really puts things in our modern day situation in such a perspective. We're reading Bhagavatam, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like it's like unheard of. Even though, yeah, like for example, for me growing up here, it's like as long as I've been alive, that's been like a normal thing in society here in America. But uh, the more I hear Bhagavatam and chant and try to familiarize myself with our spiritual culture, then actually the more and more insane and barbaric so many things in secular society it is revealing itself to be, which is amazing. That's actually the scientific nature of our Krishna conscious process. If we hear something and we meditate on it and we assimilate it, start applying it in our life, then we can see the truth of it for ourselves in life, and that's science. And so anyway, I'm just sharing some thoughts on this. So, would anybody else like to share anything at this point? It's it's nice to hear, and because our process is basically changing our consciousness from material consciousness to Krishna consciousness, and it's just something so subtle as a worldview in connection with Krishna can completely change one's experience in life. You know, from materialistic to Krishna conscious. So Prabhupada's training us up how to think in Krishna consciousness. Pretty amazing. Hare Krishna. Kantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Well, all right. If there's nothing else from anyone else, then we can adjourn this meeting. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. So thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Krishna willing, I will be here tomorrow at our regular time. Hare Krishna. So we can continue hearing about the age of Kali, and more specifically, punishment and reward of Kali. So it's going to continue. It's going to be nectar, hearing about our present time. So, Hare Krishna, thank you. Hope everyone has a great evening, and we will see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.